Another day's walk here, and I am so glad I'm able to make this video now. I have now officially completed the Kanawha Trace Trail, and I've actually walked an extra 10 miles along the way. So I took a 33-mile trail, and I have walked 43 miles on the trail. It took me 3 days to finish, and I'm gonna let you know about what I thought about the trail as a whole. Now let me tell you, I walked 2 days in a row, and the third day was like 3 weeks later because of Skills USA, which you have seen the video of. So my first 2 days was right after each other, so they was pretty similar, but my last day on the trail was very different. So I experienced a lot of different terrain and weather. On my first 2 days, on my first day, it was very gloomy and kind of chilly. It was like 62 degrees that day. And the day before, we got so much rain, it was crazy. So everything was kind of flooded. All the creeks was up, all the water was up. There was waterfalls, little tiny waterfalls in places there wasn't. And my second day, it was kind of the perfect hiking day. It was like 70 degrees. It was just perfect. You know, sun was out, it looked nice. And then finally, my third day on trail, it was 100 degrees plus from beginning to end. Sun shining straight on you. Hottest temperatures I have ever hiked in my life. So I'm gonna, maybe you guys should put that in consideration whenever I am judging this trail, because I'm gonna break it up into 3 parts. Well, 4 parts, because there was 4 different parts of this trail. And let's just start off with the first part, which I am taking from the beginning to about Camp Arrowhead. No, beginning to, about Camp Arrowhead. Let me do that first. And in that section of trail, that was only like 8 miles of trail. But that was some of the best trail I've ever walked on. It was very nice, very well graded. I mean, it was big climbs and big descents, but they had switchbacks everywhere for you. The trail was very easily noticed, and it was just a nice walk. It was very nice. It was beautiful up through there. It wasn't really up in the top of the sky or nothing. It wasn't down in the ground either. It was just in the middle of nowhere, just walking up and down through little valleys. You get to see hills. You went through hollers. You went up over the hill. You know, you just got to see a little bit of everything down through there. And it was very, very scenic in that first section of trail. And I have a feeling that part of the trail is some of the most maintained and the most used out of anything. And then let's get into the second part of the trail. The second part of the trail, I'm going to go from about Camp Arrowhead to, let me take that all the way past Blackjack's shack, all the way to Blackjack's school, the Blackjack school. I'm gonna take it all the way through there. Now this part of the trail had a little bit of everything. This was a big chunk of the trail. This was probably about 10-15 miles of the trail is what I'm talking about right here. And it was awful most of the time. The trail was not marked for nothing. You guys seen that in my video. I got lost so many times. I walked 10 extra miles in that little section. I ended up walking 28 miles in that section right there, and that is not 28-mile section. So it was terrible. Terrible for that factor. It did not have any markings. But the scenery on that part was pretty good. Except in this section is when you started getting a lot of road walking. A lot of road walking started happening right here. And when you was on the road, it was easy. But first getting on the road and first getting off the road is where the trail messed up. But what happened is if you missed it there, you're not going to find the trail at all. You just pretty much have to turn around, walk all the way back, and just calm down and find it. Because the trail just disappeared into who knows where. It was awful. That was probably the most aggravating part of trail I was ever on. It's not that the trail was difficult. I mean, I had to go underneath a fence with a bunch of cattle fields, a bunch of ticks, a bunch of big fields, a bunch of weeds, stuff like that. That was all in that section. It was all terribly maintained. The grass was so high, the weeds was so high, trees all over the trail. I mean, I had fun doing it, but it was probably my worst experience ever on a trail. And at Blackjack School, I'm sorry, I keep calling it Blackjack Shack. I'm not gonna say that it was the trail's fault that I got turned around, because by the time I got there on the second day, I already walked, I'd say probably 15, 16 miles. So I was kind of ready to hang up my hat anyway. But then I lost it, and when you find a trail there, it goes both ways. Where I found it, because I did the same thing the second time I went there. But you can find the trail, and it takes you left and right. And the first time I just wasn't thinking and took a left. The second time I paid more attention. So that part I'm not going to blame the trail. I'm going to blame myself. And now, let me go to this last section of trail, which is going to go from Blackjack School to the very end. Now, this is the section that I have most my memory about, because I just did it 2 days ago. And it was amazing. Beautiful scenery. I mean, it had some of the most gorgeous views out of the whole trail. Is in that one section right there. So, for you guys, if anybody around this area is wanting to do the Kanawha Trace Trail, I would recommend doing Blackjack School to the end, or the end to Blackjack School. I mean, Blackjack School to Fraser Bottom, or Fraser Bottom to Blackjack School. It said it was 11.85 miles on the map. I took it out to be 13.62 is what my phone read on my GPS run tracker. So 13.68 is what I got, I believe. It's within a tenth of a mile or so. I can't remember exact, but that is what it was in length. So on that section, it was over 100 degrees outside when I did it, and it was so hot, humid. I mean, I just could not stop sweating. I could not stop, I couldn't cool myself down. It didn't seem like I couldn't keep enough water in me at that time. I will say that is the most difficult thing I have ever done hiking or backpacking anywhere, was that section of trail right there. It was just horrifying for me to even look back on it. But I had a lot of fun, and it was very beautiful. Now, things to look out for on that trail is like big landmarks. The beginning, you go up pretty good views. You get to walk on top of a hill, and it's just pretty nice. It's the only kind of sky view you get on the whole trail. And then the second thing would be that little cave you go through after you cross down on what road was it? I think it was Blue Sulphur. After you cross Blue Sulphur, you go through that cave system, and it's very beautiful. It's kind of tricky to get through. I had to take my backpack off to get through it, but I'm a bigger guy, so that's understandable. The next thing would be probably not until you get all the way to Blackjack School. You go through some beautiful, beautiful creeks. You go through a creek bed, which you could see on my video I just posted, and you go up some really, really steep hills. That would be the most difficult hills and steepness, would be the Blackjack School to the end. It's not that there is more gain and loss, it's that the gain and loss is straight up and straight down. There is 0 switchbacks on the Mason County part of the trail, but there is also more scenery to see, and it takes you through more unique areas because of that. Not saying they couldn't have put switchbacks, because they could have easily. They just chose not to, and I'm not complaining to them, because it made the hike even more difficult to do and even more of an adventure. So I'm not blaming the people that made the trail one bit for doing that. It was a very interesting and a different way to go about it. Now, in the middle of that section, there's a lot of road walking, and I'm not the fondest of road walking, especially when I have to do a 4-mile gravel road walk. Gravel tore my feet up. After I got off of it, I felt good, but that gravel really tore my feet up. I didn't expect that just little gravel would do so much walking on it for so long. So Pennsylvania next year, I don't think I'm really looking forward to it right now. Or I might be kind of going more towards a shoe that has a rock plate. If you guys have any advice about that, put it in the description. But that gravel really tore my feet up when I was on it. I just wanted to get off of it. And through this trail, things I experienced, like I was saying, I experienced the heat. I experienced flooded waters. I experienced ticks. I experienced brush. Lots of brush that was so out of control, it was crazy. I experienced bridges that wasn't up to code, I guess you could say, and bridges that was amazing. And I got sunburnt, like, really badly and really weird, because where I had my backpack on part 5, it just tore my shoulders up, like on the outside of my shoulders, and against my neck was sunburnt, but where my pack straps was, it wasn't sunburnt. So it was the weirdest looking sunburn I've ever had. I still have it now, but it was crazy. It didn't really hurt, but it was just like, the looks of it was horrible. It was horrible. And it was just, and then the only thing is, the Barbersville side of the trail has the big plaque saying, "Welcome to the Kanawha Trace Trail. You have now begun," you know, all that stuff. And at the Mason County end, Fraser Bottom, there was no sign or nothing. It just popped you out on the road, and there's no more blazes. It was just over. That's it. That's all you get. So I wish they did have something there saying, "Hey, you made it to the end, congratulations," or "This is the start of the Kanawha Trace Trail," but no, it had none of that. So that is the only disappointment I had on the whole trail, as I walked the whole thing and all I got was thrown out on another road. So like I said, I didn't film when I got there. I'm sorry about that. I just got in and left. I was done. I was hot. I was sweaty. I was tired. I slept for like 7 hours after that. I just went to sleep. It was horrible. But it was a lot of fun. And 4-Wheel Drive said he had a lot of fun as well. He said it was one of the most difficult things he has done in the heat. So I would not take back doing the trail exactly the way I did it, because it showed me I can complete it. I can complete a trail if I put my mind to it, even if it's over 100 degrees and even if it's flooded. You just got to keep pushing. You got to keep hiking. You can't stop. That is the main part. You just got to keep going, keep moving, and you feel good. I found out when you stop in the heat and you sit down and you take a break, you get stiff. And when you get stiff, you don't want to hike anymore. So when it is so hot outside, you just want to keep moving, even if it's a little bit. Just keep moving and you will feel 20 times better by the end. So that is what I have to tell you about the Kanawha Trace Trail. Any more questions about the Kanawha Trace Trail or the future of my YouTube channel or anything, please leave them in the comments below. I love answering you guys' questions. I'll even make a Q&A if I get enough questions, but I never do. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button to join the Sunnyside Squad, and like always, I'll see you on the sunny side.